How did you start or enter this business?
Well, I've been in the trading business for many years, and way back in 2000, when we were using freight forwarding services through a company called BDP International from USA, we realized that this is a sector that is badly needed to be in India. So we started as a joint venture with BDP in India, where we own 51% and BDP owned 49%, only providing vanilla freight forwarding services. But as we got into the business more and more and into the sector more and more, we realized that the opportunities and the gaps are just enormous, especially in the supply chain and with the infrastructure that was prevalent in India, or that is prevalent in India today also. And taking advantage of the experience of trading and taking advantage of understanding the logistics sector as we went along, we decided to then move in a very large scale into this sector, and that is why we're in this business. And I see a lot of gap, because in India our spend on logistics is about 14% of the GDP, whereas in developed nations it is about 8 to 9%. So on a $1.6 trillion economy what we are today, we are looking at a gap of about 65 to 70 billion US dollars in inefficiencies alone. So looking at this wide gap which is prevalent today, we thought it is very, very prudent that we be in this business. And hence Arshiya is one company that is probably the only company in the world which is kind of a company where you can, it is a one throat to catch with regards to every aspects of logistics, including the infrastructure. Thank you.
What is more profitable, supply chain or infrastructure solutions?
Well, you cannot break this into supply chain or infrastructure solutions. You know, it is a part and parcel. If you don't have the infrastructure solutions, then you cannot have a very effective supply chain. If you have infrastructure and a very, very docile supply chain, or a very, very non-solution based supply chain, then it doesn't make sense either. So it's complementary. There is nothing as what is more profitable. Our approach to the customer is to what is the kind of value add we give to the customer. And that value proposition comes from the fact that we don't talk about that I will give you one pallet position or 1 square foot of space at a rent of X or Y or Z, whatever the case may be, but it comes from the fact that we will manage your entire process of whether it is import, export, distribution, transportation, storage, regulatory, what are the other fiscal benefits, all those things. So it's a combination of everything. Now, how do you split this income? It all depends upon customer to customer, industry to industry. There are certain industries, for example, rail, as a customer for us, would probably have the highest wallet spend on Arshiya's all business activities from for the steel industry from the rail business. And similarly, from an electronic or a IT hardware company point of view, I think FTWZ and supply chain is going to be having the highest wallet spend. So it is all dependent upon industry and customer.
How would you like to highlight the major achievements in the last 1 year?
I think last 1 year has been pretty much a year which has defined what Arshiya can do. You know, we've not been a company when we started off in 2000, which we were purely a services based company. It was the journey started sometime in 2007 that we realized that there are opportunities to invest into the infrastructure, especially in the free trade warehousing zone or domestic logistic parks or the rail sector, as well as transportation, road transportation. And from 2007 onwards, we started working on a plan. 2008, we started acquisition of land and acquisition of assets post our QIP, where we raised funds. And you all know that, you know, in end of 2008, the Lehman Brothers happened, and what happened to the rest of the world. But our conviction was so high that we went ahead with all our investments, and those investments have started reaping benefits only from last year. So 2010, 2011 has been a year where we've been able to prove to the world that Arshiya, being a services company, can go buy parcels of land in excess of 1,000+ acres, can operate trains, can buy them, can raise debt, and effectively have an integrated play of supply chain and provide value to the customer in terms of bringing down their cost tremendously for the entire supply chain.